Good evening from the KTN News Center here in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. I am Ben Kitili, and this is KTN Prime on the broadcast tonight. Breaking news on multiple fronts as we came on air. And tonight's broadcast, of course, sandwiched between debates of the second edition of Transform Kenya, focusing on health. On the broadcast tonight, we shall be telling you what's happening. Our wall-to-wall coverage will include the very latest on the 16% VAT on petroleum products. KTN's Abubakar Abdullahi is in the central business district somewhere trying to just see what's happening in terms of, is there fuel in the country? There has been a shortage of fuel. There has been scramble for that precious commodity. He is standing by in a petrol station to tell us, to paint for us the picture as of now. Meanwhile, we will also be taking you to the county of Kisumu, where our Kevin Ogutu has been following the developments in the murder of Sharon Otieno in the county of Migori. He will be telling us the very latest on this as well. Be sure to be with us. Thank you for staying with us. It is Thursday, the 6th day of September 2018. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Meresha Owiti. KTN Prime begins right now. The top stories tonight.
Kutumia mali ya umma ama mali ya assembly, pesa ya assembly kujifaidi mwenyewe, na ya pili ni kukosa kutupatia uongozi.
Members of the Nairobi County Assembly impeach Nairobi County Speaker Beatrice Elachi. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi meets CS Henry Rotich over VAT levy as fuel shortage bites. Plus, homicide squad visits the scene of murder of Sharon Otieno as post-mortem is planned for Friday. And tears and agony for a family as it mourns the deaths of 4 of its members through a road crash. Welcome to the broadcast. Countrywide protests over the implementation of the 16% value-added tax on petroleum products today saw the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, the Attorney General, and the leadership of the National Assembly, led by Speaker Justin Muturi, hold a highly guarded, closed-door meeting at Parliament Building. Concerns have been raised that implementation of the punitive tax measures may lead to high cost of living and higher inflation levels as consumers are forced to carry the tax burden. There was more confusion when the High Court in Bungoma suspended the implementation of the controversial fuel levy 2 days after a Nairobi High Court declined to issue similar orders. KTN senior political affairs reporter Patrick Amimo is working on the details of that story. We will be bringing you up to speed shortly here on KTN Prime. Still on that fuel levy story, and the crisis in the industry continued today as fuel transporters strike entered day 2. There were still long queues as motorists sought to fill their tanks to avoid running out of fuel. The transporters are protesting the skyrocketing fuel prices as a result of the new VAT on the petroleum products. The strike led to fuel shortages countrywide. Earlier, Nairobi's depot area was under heavy police protection as protests persisted. This has been the situation at the depot for the last couple of days. It has been long queues in petrol stations across the city at least. Let's now bring in KTN's Abubakar Abdullahi, who is at a petrol station along Valley Road here in Nairobi, to just tell us what's happening. Abubakar, good evening. How is the situation like where you are?
Good evening, Ben, and I can hear you very well. The turns and twists of this story everly changing by the tick of the minute, by the tick of the clock rather. The latest being the Bungoma court that has suspended the VAT 16% value-added tax on fuel. This coming, of course, days after the Nairobi court declined to suspend this. This will have a palpable effect, of course, the effects nationally and across the country being felt at the moment. The prices are up. In Nairobi, a litre of petrol is retailing at 127 shillings. In the far-flung areas of Mandera, it's reported to be retailing at 140 shillings. Difference there just because of the transportations, of course, but this is a story that has its twist turned, and the genesis of it being 2013 when Parliament in the 2013 financial bill first passed this bill, giving it a 3 years grace period for implementations to 2016, where they further suspended the bill by 2 years to 2018. Now the latest of the implementation took effect as from the 1st of September, which saw an increment in the rise of fuel. This has led to a backlash and a protest from fuel transporters who have staged a protest demanding that this has to be dropped. Because of that protest of the fuel transporters as well, fuel shortage has been reported across the country. And now I'm at a petrol station, and as my cameraman can ably zoom into it, you can see that activities are going on. But at this petrol station, it is diesel that they are selling. They say they're out of petrol, which is a commodity that is so much needed by many of their clients who came in to fuel their cars. This having effect on individuals. Earlier on, I was at Nairobi's depot area, which is at the industrial area, to assess of how things were, and notably also the place was under heavy police protection, with fears that there could be a backlash between transporters and among transporters rather, because there were some who were transporting fuel while others claimed that they had to go on this go slow in fuel, meaning there was some sort of a backlash. There was heavy police presence at Nairobi's industrial area, which is the depot and the nerve center when it comes to supplying fuel. As of now, activities before we came to this petrol station, actually we passed over 5 other petrol stations, and one thing that we noted is that even some petrol stations had closed earlier just because they ran out of stock and there is no fuel. The lucky ones, such as these, are also telling us that their time is up and the clock is fast ticking for them as well to close, because they are running out of stocks with no intentions of refueling. The Energy Regulatory Commission has not yet responded to the suspension by the court in Bungoma. If they would have responded, probably what they would have noted is if there will be a decrease rather in the price of fuel. This, as of now, stands as a confusion, because we understand the court suspended, yet there is no communication from the commission, which is in charge of pricing fuel. That is it what we know at the moment, Ben.
Thank you, Abubakar Abdullahi, coming to us live from a petrol station along Valley Road here in Nairobi. As we understand, there is still fuel shortage at that particular petrol station. There is no petrol. They're only selling diesel. That seems to be a story across the city, at least here in the capital city. We continue to stay on top of that story for you, even against